Hey everyone, and welcome to another Marks & Crafts unboxing and review. Today I'm going to be looking at something a bit special, and these are The World Ends With You, the animation prize figures of Neku and Shiki. Now, The World Ends With You merch is a little bit inconsistent. We haven't really gotten many figures in the past, in pretty much only being like Bring Arts and things like that, thanks to the animation and Neo. There have been quite a few more figures, but mainly again it is Bring Arts. Kotobukiya is doing a scale of Neku, and it does look quite good, but for a more affordable price point, the prize figures are really hitting that point perfectly. And what I love about it is that so far they've planned the entire original cast, and hopefully they'll do more down the line later, because I have grown to like the Neo characters as well. But right now we're going to be looking at Shiki and Neku. So let's get right into it. I'll start with Neku. And he's looking good right there, and I will open Shiki straight away as well, and then I'll have a closer look at both of them together. Now I've got them both set up, and straight out of the box they look really good for prize figures. I have had a few issues over the last year with prize figures and paint inconsistencies and color accuracy and things like that, but straight out of the box these are looking really good. So one thing that I did note when I was putting it together is the soles of Neku's feet. You can see some of the details on his foot that's not connected to the base. When I was connecting him to the base, I noticed that the foot that clicks in has got all the detail on the bottom of the shoe as well, which is really cool and really unnecessary. But I like that it wasn't just an afterthought, or like a piece that, like it wasn't a leftover idea. They were just like, oh yeah, it's gonna plug in so we can just leave it bare or flat or something like that. They actually put in the effort. And while I'm here, the base is really simple, but really elegant for the prize figures, because normally it's just like a black, clear or white base and a peg. This one, at least they put some thought into it, because it's a black base, but they've sort of recreated the Shibuya Scramble sort of design of the street crossing and splayed out their name in between that, and put some nice little like scratch details and things like that to make it look like a worn street crossing. And the same for Shiki as well. So far, like, I really like it. Prize figures, sometimes they don't really capture the look of the character. So far, Neku's face looks pretty on point, his eyes are good, the colours are very vibrant. They even put in some shading, which isn't typically there for prize figures. Like, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It's a big gamble. And thankfully, because they've put some shading into this, it looks more accurate to the show and game. I do feel like the colours in the show are more vibrant than the game, and because these are the animation colours, they are a little more vibrant, or at least I feel like it is. It has been a long time since I played the game. But I feel like because the figure pops quite a bit more. It is accurate to the image of the box and things like that, but Shiki was the figure that I wasn't too sold on, even though I really like her character. Because it's just weird when I looked at her face that her teeth are on the bottom of her mouth, and it sort of looks like this sort of strange grin. And the same thing is on the box. Like, the figure is accurate, it's just a design choice. And I'm not 100% sold on the look. Like, the rest of the figure is fantastic, but there's something with her face, and I can't quite get over it. Now, the paint seems a little less consistent on Shiki, but it's hidden behind her, so it's okay. So on her hat, you can see the paint's a bit like rubbing off or a bit runny. Where her hat meets her hair, you can see all this sort of like splotchy white stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure what caused that. Again, not a deal breaker because it's right at the back, but still just a bit of an oddity. And I'm using the same rule that I do with pop-up parades, although I'm a little more lax on it for prize figures, where I'm okay with paint errors and things like that as long as it's not immediately visible from the front. So if the figure looks fine from the front, then all is good. This is another thing that I don't expect from prize figures, is varied textures of materials, or varied textures of like top coat and things like that. Like for the pop-up parade, say when I was looking at the Danganronpa Junko, how her boots were high gloss and her skin was matte and things like that. You don't necessarily expect that for a prize figure. Sometimes everything is that straight out of the factory plastic look, everything shines quite bright and looks a little bit off or a bit ugly. For the World Ends With You prize figures, like you can see that Shiki's boots are at least semi-gloss and her skin is matte and her clothes are matte and things like that, and it's really nice that they've actually put that effort in. I'm going to do a quick size comparison. So here they are next to the entry grade Arc 78 Gundam, which is a 1/144 scale, which is the same scale as Figma and things like, which is in the same figure scale as Figma, so it's about as tall as your standard posable figurine. And just put next to them the Genestella Innocent version model kit from Kotobukiya, so you can see how they sort of stand next to a general figurine. This model kit's non-scale, but it's pretty much in scale with all the Sosai Shoujo stuff, which is around 110 scale as well. So that gives you a bit of an idea as to how big these prize figures are, because all prize figures are pretty much non-scale, but they usually sit around 1/8. So now I'm just chucking them on my turntable and get a good look at them from all angles. And when you've got it like this, you can really tell how well detailed and well painted it is, as well as how well structured the dynamic pose is. It really works for the character. Now, Shiki has a dynamic pose as well, but it's not sort of a dynamic action pose, it's more like a dynamic cutesy pose, and when they're paired up next to each other, they do still look good, but they do feel slightly out of place. I think it'll depend on the other figures that come out in the line as to how they'll all sort of sit together on a shelf, but generally they still look fine together. And that's pretty much it. These are really, really good as prize figures. Much with my interest of the pop-up parade line, I do like that we are seeing more niche series getting figurines, or sort of more, or some of the like older franchises getting new figurines and things like that. And The World Ends With You fits right into that. It might not be a pop-up parade, but it's nice to see prize figures finally come out for this series that look really good. And they barely even look like prize figures. Sure, there are paint inconsistencies and things like that, but they're all very minor. And the price point for them is fantastic as well, because again, they're prize figures. So if you like The World Ends With You and you, like me, really hate that there's not a lot of representation of it for merch, then I'm sure you'll enjoy these figures as well. And I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll see you all next time.